guys, it's April the 7th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far. I hope everybody had a great weekend this past weekend. I just want to start today's video off and just say thank you so much to everybody that watched the video that I did with my wife yesterday. I really do appreciate it, and thank you so much for all the kind words. I'm pretty close to finishing up the comments, and for the most part, it's been very positive. You know, there have been a couple of people have had some not so nice things to say, but either way, it's okay. I mean, that's to be expected. But anyway, in today's video, I want to talk about something that that used to happen to me all the time. And you know, I've spent this morning trying to think about what I wanted to talk about today, and I bounced around a bunch of ideas in my mind. But what really made me think about why I wanted to talk about this is last night I spent the night with my boys out on our property. We camped out here in our woods. And when I was a drinker, whenever I would do something like that with my kids, you know, it would be a really big deal. You know, I would promise them the moon and the stars, you know, basically every single time that I had a vacation or a weekend coming up or something like that, because it was hard for me to do things like that when I was a chef. I didn't have the time, especially on the weekends. And of course we couldn't camp on weeknights. So if I had a vacation or a weekend off or something, you know, I would know about it pretty far in advance, and it would be a conversation with my kids over and over. You know, when my vacation happens, we're going to be doing all these fun things, and I would make all these promises to them, and then, you know, when it came time to finally do them, I would end up getting too drunk and would be too hungover, or I would just get too intoxicated to actually do the things that I promised. So, like, you know, if I said we're going to go camping on Monday night, and I was off for their spring break or something, like, you know, they're still on vacation right now. They have 2 weeks off, and this is their second week of vacation right now. So a lot of times I would take vacation when they had vacation. For one, because I needed to be home to, you know, to watch them, or two, I wanted to spend time with them. And I would, you know, tell them we're going to go camping, and then the night before we were supposed to go, I would drink myself into a stupor, and then the next morning I'd wake up and I would be so hungover. And I would tell my kids, you know, we're going to go outside and we're going to work on this and that, and we're going to put up the tent, and we're going to do all this stuff early in the day. And then when it finally came time for us to do it, I felt too bad. So then it would be, okay, guys, well, just give Dad a couple more hours. You know, I don't feel very good right now. You know, give me 2 more hours and then we'll go. And then those 2 hours would pass, and then it's, well, give me another 2 hours. And then those 2 hours would pass, and then it would be, okay, guys, we're just going to go out of there at 5 o'clock today. And a lot of times I would just say, guys, I don't feel good enough. We're going to have to do this tomorrow or the next day. And then the next day would come, and then I didn't feel good again. I broke so many promises to my children, which is part of the conversation today. But really what I wanted to talk about today more than anything is the amount of wasted time when we're in active addiction. You know, and not just the broken promises that we make. And, you know, breaking promises to our children is one thing, and that, you know, that is something that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. And, you know, I've forgiven myself for a lot of the things that happened back in the day, but that is one of the ones that's really hard for me to forgive myself for, because yeah, I'll never get that time back. Those years are gone, and there was a lot of time that I could have spent with my children, and I just blew it. I wasted it. You know, it's forever gone, and I will never get that time back. My kids will never be that age ever again, and that's just the reality of it. And it's not something that I just beat myself up about constantly, but it does cross my mind every once in a while, and it hurts, and it's all my fault. I have nobody else to blame but myself for my actions. And like I said, I blew it. I blew a lot of years of my children, and now I'm trying to make up for that. And like I said, it made me think about it this morning when I was trying to think about what I wanted to discuss today, and like how I went camping with my kids last night and I was able to do so. And I'd been promising my kids all weekend. Actually, I had promised them all week long last week that we were going to do this week. And my son asked me, and we were actually supposed to do it on Saturday, but I just wasn't feeling well enough. And I told my oldest son, my youngest son didn't really care. He's totally fine with it. He's just fine staying inside and playing video games. But my oldest son was like, Dad, are we still planning on going camping tonight? And that was on Saturday, and I just said, no, I just don't feel well enough to do it. Let's plan on doing it on Sunday night. And I really did not feel good. So we moved it to last night, and we actually went out there and did it. And if I was still a drinker, I would have prolonged it again, and I would have made another promise and said, okay, well, not tomorrow night, not Sunday night, but Monday night. And as a matter of fact, we're gonna go camping out here again tonight. And it rained on us last night, which actually I really enjoy the rain when you're camping. It helps me sleep. I sleep like a rock. But it's rained all day today as well. That's why I'm sitting up here on the porch today, because it's been raining all day. It's been pouring out here, as a matter of fact, and I just didn't want to go down there and get rained on in the middle of trying to record this. But we're still going camping again tonight. They're still on vacation the rest of this week, and I told my boys, like, we can camp as many nights as you guys want to this week, and we're probably going to camp a bunch of nights this week. I'm trying my best to make up for all the missed time that I have with my kids. But it's not just my children that I miss time with. I miss time with my wife. I miss time with myself. I miss time learning of like who I am as a person. I miss time growing as a person and as a human being. Many years of missed growing up. I didn't really start to grow up until I got sick, guys, and that's just the honest to God truth. I was so immature up until I was 42 years old. I acted like a teenager my whole entire life. Up until being 42 years old, I was not mature enough for anything. I mean, I went to work every day. If you looked at myself on paper, everything looked good. I looked like the perfect employee, the perfect husband, but if you knew me, you knew that was all a lie. Now, like I said, I got up every day and went to work. I paid my bills. But just doing those types of things, that doesn't define you as a human. It doesn't make you a good person. And just because I got up every day, went to work and paid the bills and made sure there was a roof over everyone's head and that we had money in the bank and food on the table, that, like I said, that didn't make me a good dad. My kids could have not had those things and probably would have been happier with a father that was actually present and there for them. But I wasn't. And in my mind, I thought, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I pay the bills. I go to work every day. Like, what else do you expect from me? And life is hard, and I'm always stressed out, and my job is difficult, so I deserve to drink like this because I'm so stressed out, and I go to work every day to work so hard to put a roof over everyone's head in here, and to feed everybody and pay for this and that and XYZ. But once again, that was my immature, egotistical mindset that I had back then. I was not mature, and like I said, I didn't start to mature until I turned 42, and I got sick, and I realized that I'm not the center of the universe. As a matter of fact, I'm about this small, if even that big. In the scheme of things, I'm smaller than a grain of sand. The expanse of this universe and everything else, I mean, I'm not that important, and It really took me almost losing my life to realize that, but I'm getting off track here. Like I said, the point of today's video is all the lost time. How many times have you, and I know there's so many of you that are going to be able to relate to what I'm talking about here, but how many times have you had a day off and you were in active addiction and you had all these plans that you were going to do on your day off or days off or vacation or whatever it is? How many times have you had these big plans and you promised your wife or your husband or whoever that you're going to get all this stuff done, and come my vacation, we're going to go on a trip, and I'm going to get all this stuff organized, and I'm going to pressure wash the house and whatever. Only to the night one of vacation, your first night of vacation, just to get smashed drunk. And then you wake up the next morning, you had all these plans, and you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to give myself just a little bit. And you wake up and you feel horrible, and you say, I'm just going to have one drink, just something just to take the edge off. So you have that one beer, or that one glass of wine, or that one mixed drink, or whatever it is. And you start to feel a little bit better, and you take a couple ibuprofen, or a couple, Goodies powder, or a couple aspirin, whatever it is that you use, and maybe eat a couple Tums, and you go to the bathroom, and, do your normal, after the night drinking before a routine of, being in the bathroom for an hour, and, you still have the smell of booze, like, soaked into your teeth, and you guys know what I'm talking about. You can brush your teeth 1,000 times, and you still, like, the alcohol is just coming out of your mouth and goes right up into your nostrils. You can just smell it on your breath. Your eyes are bloodshot. You got bags on your eyes, black circles around your eyes. Your face is puffy and swollen. You feel bloated as hell. Your gut is just swollen. You can't button your pants up that day. Like I said, you have that drink in the morning and you start to feel a little bit better, and you're like, man, okay, I'm feeling better now. I'm going to take another hour, and then I'm going to get outside, or I'm going to get up and start doing what I need to do. And you're just kind of laying in the bed or sitting on the couch, and you say, you know what? That one drink made me feel a lot better, so I'm just going to go ahead and have one more, because that's going to fix it. And then you have that other drink. And then you have another one. And you know what? Why not? I'm going to have one more. It's my day off. It's my vacation. I deserve this. I work so hard. I deserve this. I do so much for everybody. I deserve this. We tell ourselves, I deserve this. I've done so much. I deserve this. I work so hard. I deserve this. My job's so stressful, or whatever it is, but I deserve it. And before you know, you look at your watch, or you look at your phone, or you look at the clock that's hanging on the wall, or whatever it is, and it's 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you are wasted drunk. You're already seeing double. You just got up to make your 6th mixed drink, and it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and you bumped into the corner of the wall, walk into the kitchen to make your next one. And that's when you realized, oh my gosh, I'm wasted right now. Or you walk outside because you were too hungover that morning, and trust me, I know all about this, and I've spoken to so many people, the same exact story. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to Slayer about this probably about 2 weeks ago or so. But if you're a drinker and a smoker, most days you wake up in the morning and that cigarette sounds so disgusting, because you just can't smoke when you're that hungover. You just can't. You're already nauseous. Your head's pounding. You know that cigarette's going to make the headache 10 times worse. You get that rush. You just don't want it. And it takes getting a couple drinks in and letting the day go by a little bit, and, letting that Tylenol or ibuprofen or whatever it is settle in, make that headache go away. You just got to start feeling a little bit better and catch a little bit of a buzz. But that first cigarette of the day that you have after you caught that, initial buzz by 12 o'clock, when you had all these plans to get done, you walk outside to smoke that cigarette. And this is what I was talking with Slayer about. You hit that cigarette and it blasts you off. You were feeling pretty buzzed before that, but then you smoke that cigarette, and before you know it, you are drunk. Because it just really just takes it to the next level. And you're kind of just, standing there or leaning over the railing on your back porch or something, smoking that cigarette, and all of a sudden you start to get dizzy, and you get that super strong head rush, and you start to feel a little bit nauseous. And you feel that pressure behind your eyes, and you start to get a little bit cross-eyed. You guys know what I'm talking about. That pressure is just like pushing on your eyeballs. I don't know what that is. Probably blood pressure or something, but that's when you realize, oh my gosh, I'm wasted drunk, and it's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and I have all these plans for today, and none of that's getting done now. That used to happen to me every single day on my days off. I would promise myself I was not going to do that to myself the night before and that morning. I'd wake up and go, I am not doing what I did the week before. I'm not going to be passed out drunk by 4 o'clock in the afternoon this time. My wife is not going to come home and find me passed out with my shoes and all my clothes on, laying halfway off the side of the bed. The oven still is turned on. There's food laying all over the counter. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to do that this time. And then there you are at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And you realize it's too late. Once again, you've done it. You promised yourself you weren't going to do that, and you did it again. I know all about it, guys. I've done it so many times. So many times. So many times I'll be sitting there on my back porch smoking that cigarette and going, I can't believe I did this to myself again. And none of that stuff is going to get done. So many projects that got put off for years, that it took me getting sick and almost losing my life, and I was ill, and I finally got the projects done that I'd been promising my wife that I was going to get done 5 years before and never touched. And it took me getting sick, getting sober, and finally having the time to get things done because I wasn't drunk 24/7. But you guys know what I'm talking about. All the wasted time. All the time that we've lost from our children. All the time that we lost not spending with our mom and our dad who are elderly. All the time that we lost with our nieces and nephews and brothers and sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles. All the time that we wasted, we could have been learning something new, or learning a new skill, or finishing up our college degree that we promised ourselves a decade ago that we were going to get done, or going back and getting your GED that you've been saying you were going to do. Whatever it is, all the wasted time because we decided that getting drunk or using whatever the substance is or whatever the activity is was a much better idea than doing these other things. It's because when we're in active addiction, we have absolutely no self-control. And we can tell ourselves we're going to do all these things and make all these promises to everyone, including ourselves, and they'll never happen. Yeah, you might get a couple things done, but there's going to be wasted time, and there's going to be a lot of it. Because when you finally get sober, the whole day is ahead of you. The whole entire day. And there is so much time in the day to get things done, to move on, learn new things, spend time with the family, do all of that stuff in one day. Like I said, going and maybe getting a project done that morning, spending time with your kids, picking them up from school, spending the afternoon with them, maybe spending an hour learning a new language that day, going to work. I don't know. It's just, there's so much more that can get done throughout the day instead of just wasting it, being drunk or doing whatever the activity is. And like I said, passing out 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, only to wake up at 8, 9 o'clock and start all over again. And then the cycle repeats and it repeats and it repeats. So guys, like I said, this is a video today to remind you of why you are staying sober. This is a reminder because sometimes we forget. We start feeling good in our sobriety and we forget about all these types of things, these little times like passing out at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon as we promised ourselves. We are not going to do that to ourselves again. And it happens. It's just part of it. And that's the reason I make these videos, is for one, is a reminder. Because like I said, we forget about this stuff. I forget about this stuff. It takes a lot of time to think about this, to pull this stuff back out of my memories that I've tried to push out. But I think about them, and when that thought comes in my head, I'm like, I need to speak about this today because there's another thing. The depressed feeling that I used to have sitting on my back porch as I smoked that first cigarette of the day at 11 o'clock in the morning and realizing that I was already wasted drunk. It was not a good feeling. And like I said, it's one of those things I've tried to push out, but I wanted to remember and talk about today to remind you so that you don't have to go back and experience that again and get that real reminder when you're right in the middle of it. So, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. And I wanted to keep this video at about 20 minutes, and I am right there on time. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I think that's about it. I really appreciate you guys watching yesterday's video. My wife, like I said, I'm going to bring her back on. It won't be this week. It'll be the week after. I'll get her back on here again unless she's willing to do it this next week, which I would love for her to come back on because I think that you guys get a lot out of that, but I don't think that she will. Like I said, I'll definitely have her on, not this weekend, but the weekend after, and I've got some really good ideas for this upcoming week, so looking forward to making the videos and speaking with you guys. I'm sorry I've been so behind on the comments the past week. Like I said, my kids have just been out of school, and I've tried to spend as much time with them as I possibly can. And the they just take all day long to get to most of the time, but I'm trying to get caught back up again and stay on top of it so I don't get so behind. You guys take the time to leave the comments, and I think it's rude if I leave them just sitting there. And like I said, I'm so sorry that I've haven't gotten all the comments this past week, but I'm gonna do my best to keep up on it this week. I'm gonna try to get up early in the morning and try knocking out and try staying up later at night to finish replying to them. So I'm gonna do better and really try to get to those. But other than that, guys, like I said, I apologize. Please keep commenting. Like I said, I am trying my best, and I will get to all of yesterday's comments and today's and the rest of this week. So if you comment, I will reply to you. So if you've got a question or if you've got something that you wanted to let me know or whatever, I am reading the comments, just getting to them. So anyway, like I said, continue to comment and I will reply. But other than that, guys, I hope you all have a great rest of your day today, and don't waste any more of your time. Don't go back to that life again. And y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that you all do. That one project that you've been telling yourself for a year that you're going to do, or 5-10 years that you're going to get done, and it just never gets done. Now's the time. And if you start to think about drinking, just get up and start doing something. Go work on that project that you've been thinking about getting done. The first step to 1,000 miles is just taking that first step. And it could be just getting outside and just starting that project, whatever it is, or whatever project is inside of your house or your vehicle, or just working on yourself. Just get started on it today. And don't let that boredom lead you to wasting and losing all of that precious time that you have, because time's just moving forward. It's not moving backwards, and we never get that time back. This life is so short, guys. I remember when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, it's like I had this idea that life went on forever and I had all the time in the world to fix and change things. And here I am now, I'm almost 50 years old, and I'm realizing that no, time it's very short, and we only get a little bit of it. And if there's any time to start anything, it's right now. So don't let the time pass you by, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love each and every single one of you, and until tomorrow, I will see you guys then. Y'all have a great rest of your day.